Clock will call the meeting to order. Approval of agenda as presented. Bruce, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Addition to the agenda, we have one addition for our Ag Service Department. We'll put that in as G. Need a motion for the addition. Richard, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And our Ag Service Board. Ladies.
The minutes, yeah.
Oh, sorry, we'll do the adoption of previous minutes first. The special council meeting of December 16th, 2024. Thanks, Robin. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the council meeting of February 18th. Yep. Bill, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now our Ag Service. You guys have the report in front of you. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, they've been, how's that? There we
That's
go.
better.
Yeah, they've been really, really well attended. Our last one is tomorrow evening, and Caitlin can let you know how many we have registered there.
So as of this morning, we're sitting right around 230 registrants.
Yeah, the garden topics and yard topics are always very popular, and this is great. We have a local master gardener will be teaching tomorrow night, which is really nice to see that community support for it.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? No, we can go ahead and move to some RFDs then. The Farm Family Award submission deadline.
So for this one, last year was the first year this program was developed, and so that was at your guys' direction, which is an excellent thing to put in place following Northland's no longer offering that award. So originally when we built it last year, we had the deadline for submissions to be the last Friday in the month of June. But once we got to it last year, that was quite tight. The idea was to present the award at Rural Roots. So by moving the deadline up to May 1st annually, that'll give us so much more time to kind of coordinate with the family, get them approved by yourselves, and then give the builder more time to construct that award.
Okay.
I'll make a motion we move it to May 1st.
Okay, so we go with option one. Bruce makes the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
This year it is Wainwright Ag Society, yes, and then next year will be Edgerton and then Chauvin. Yeah, and we have had confirmation from them that they will be putting a name forward, so I expect we'll see that sometime within the next month.
Okay, and the chemical container storage phase 3.
So for this one, as you guys are aware, last year we did the phase 1 and phase 2 environmental site assessments. So Rohai Engineering did that work for us. And then at the pre-planning meeting, we brought it to discussion to see what the direction for the future of the site would be in order for them to build that remediation report. So at that time, we indicated that the structure would be removed and the site reclaimed. So we did receive the final phase 2 report on February 18th, and that included the remediation plan, which should be in the package there. And so that includes the physical remediation of the site, the confirmatory sampling to make sure all the material was removed, and the subsequent application to the regulators. So Rohai has provided a quote for their part of the project, so that would be acting as a consultant, completing the confirmatory sampling, and then applying for a reclamation certificate on our behalf. And then we would be looking to get some prices on a contractor or a few contractors to do the physical demolition and dirt work and soil disposal. And fortunately, we are able to dispose of that soil locally, so that will make a really big difference. Yes, correct.
Okay.
All that was in the containment.
Yeah, nothing outside. There's just a few places that they did boreholes within the structure that had a slight exceedance of triolates. So We have the full kind of delineation horizontally and depth-wise, what exactly needs removed. So there's about 800 meters cubed of soil to remove.
That's a real benefit with them taking it locally. That's going to be huge.
Oh, that'll be massive. Otherwise, you would likely be trucking to Riley. So it's that's going to be a big help on the project.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll ask for a motion. Bruce, option 1. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. The 2025 Battle River Power Co-op vegetation maintenance consent.
So this one is typically submitted every year from the Battle River Power Co-op. So it's their yearly vegetation management, so trimming, slashing, mowing, and spraying operations to do their maintenance program for their utilities in the MD. So they've submitted all the locations, and this is the same kind of content of the options that has come in previous years. So it'd be to authorize the signing of the consent forms for their program, indicating that they must consult with the landowners adjacent to any work occurring within 100 meters of their farm site, residence, or shelter belt, indemnify and hold harmless the MD, and to utilize only licensed contractors and registered herbicides to do the work on municipal property.
Thanks, Bill. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and moving on to
A few pages.
yeah, there we are. So the canola rotation risk mapping.
So this is something that the ASB discussed. It's so Landview has a program called the Canola Rotation Risk Mapping Program, and the board was interested in bringing this program forward to council for their discussion. So utilizing a program like this would be a little bit more proactive in our club route scouting program, and it's a little bit more risk-based, but it would still maintain the randomized aspect of the program. So Landview would provide a list of land locations to be inspected based on criteria that would be set by us. So how they do that is go over with utilizing satellites, and they'll identify all the canola within the municipality, and then they'll compare that to previous year's data, and that'll help identify, for example, fields that are in a very tight rotation, which might denote a higher risk of having club root. So club root is something that we survey for annually. Typically we do 2 fields per township, and how we do that at present is we just drive around within each section until we kind of come across a canola field and we surveyed there. So this would just take a little bit more of a risk-based approach to that.
Any questions or comments?
So is this, so you get an annual fee, is that yearly annual fee of $300-$400 to get access to the satellite system?
Oh.
How does that work?
So as it's set right now, I believe that's an annual fee, so it could be something that, I mean, the data would be ours once it was purchased, so whether or not we would continue to use that or just kind of have that data set and kind of work off that in subsequent years, but we can certainly discuss with them kind of as far as long-term pricing goes, if it's something that we're interested in, and if we're not, that's absolutely fine as well. Oh, certainly, yeah. And see if it was more effective or not.
So right now, if we do testing, do we notify the landowner?
If we do testing?
Yeah.
Oh, if they have a positive, absolutely, they would
But to
be,
go get it, we go in to get it without notifying them, right?
the surveys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're appointed as inspectors under the Ag Pest
Yeah,
Act, so
yeah,
we
yeah,
are
yeah,
able to
yeah.
go onto those properties. We don't typically notify until we have confirmation, because sometimes things will look like club root, but they're not.
Yeah.
We did have one 2 years ago that we were absolutely certain was, and so we sent it to the lab and they retested it multiple times and it came out negative. So we wait until we have that confirmation from both soil and tissue analysis before we go ahead and get into a conversation with that landowner.
Yeah, and I think, and Richard, you might have some insight into this too, but at the discussion at Ag Service Board, it was just viewed as another tool, another way to collect data. And also it does randomize where we are picking. So I think the Ag Service Board thought it was a valuable tool to try.
One thing about this map here, the yellow on the map that we have here, does that mean it's a canola field, and what does the red would mean? Do you know?
Yeah, so on that example, on that background information, all of those yellow fields would be an example of where there is canola this year. And then those ones that are red, depending on what risk factors were rated into there, they show up as higher risk. So that could be, those are fields that are in short rotations, or they could also be looking at proximity to previous positive fields. So it can be, you can kind of let them know what parameters you think are most appropriate. Some municipalities do survey every single canola field, so just having that, identifying them would be a big time saver. But if we want to maintain kind of that structure of our program where we're choosing 2 per township, we can kind of give them those parameters, and they'll pull 2 out and send us those land locations. But the red would be the higher risk locations.
And we would have stats for every year if we join this?
Oh yeah, so another thing that they do provide with this is you do receive everything no later than August 8th. You get a high resolution map of the 2025 canola in the entire county, so we'd have that. Often we get asked in surveys and whatnot how many acres are planted to canola, and there's no way for us to really know unless you have data like this. You do get a map of the legal parcels identifying the risk index priority, so even if we do still have them only send us 2 locations per township, we still do receive all that data. And then we get our Excel spreadsheet with the legal land locations, scouting priority index, or random samples. So for us with our current program, it's that randomized, so we would be getting a list of about 90 land locations from them.
Any other questions,
Yeah,
comments?
I just want to back up and maybe I misunderstood. So you're entering the person's property with a low plan? Is that what I read on that?
Yeah, and that's typical how we do those inspections.
I don't think, I know we had an altercation on our place, with an inspector going out there. You're wandering around in your field, what do you got on your body, your boots?
Oh, absolutely.
I think a notification of the landowner is a proper thing to do if they go out there. Is it not?
For something like this, where it is a designated pest and we have been appointed under that legislation to act as that. Mhm.
I don't, you don't own the land. I think it's proper for the notify the landowner before you enter his property. That's like somebody going to your place and wandering around your trail. He's a gas inspector. Put yourself in the same boots.
Yep.
I just don't think I don't think it's right. I think notify the landowner before you go on there. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we can double verify in the legislation what it says, but we do follow all of the biosecurity protocols. We don't enter any field with any equipment or anything. We don't drive on any field. We wear disposable boot covers every time we do enter a field, and so that boot cover gets worn once and then they're disposed of. And of course we sanitize our hands and any tools or equipment that would have come in contact with soil. And so we can double verify in the legislation that that's the kind of powers appointed to those inspectors. And there are definitely people that might be going out and doing surveys that don't have that ability under the legislation. And so that might be what you encountered in the past, but that is the same with, say, the Weed Control Act. It does grant inspectors the ability to go on to land to do those inspections.
I agree, they should be
Yes.
notified before you go on the land.
Yeah, and if that's council's wishes, that's something that we
Even
can
with-
definitely
even with the
look
act,
into.
that's just common courtesy. You're going out on somebody's property.
We've never done that before?
No.
No, but I did.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We've had some conflicts before.
What did we do now?
For Club Route?
Yeah, it was a covered inspection before your time.
Oh, okay. If that's council's wishes that everyone be notified, then, this would
I
certainly
get the
be.
legislation, I get it, I don't
Mhm.
the legislation. It's a different society we live in today.
Mhm.
So I think
I think,
Give me an answer.
I think this would be more of a policy discussion than a discussion today.
Okay.
I think there's probably a little bit more research that has to go into it, and I'm not saying I disagree with you, Bill, but in the same respect. I got a phone call last year with that, it was a provincial inspector that was out there, and I had a talk with the guy, and he said, no, I'm not giving anybody any notice I'm coming on their land. And he used the safety as a reason why. So I think this is a bigger discussion we can have at policy, and if that is something that we feel strongly about, then we can consider it.
The safety is, you'd have less safety if I knew about him being out there than if I shot him trying to think he was stealing something.
Well, fortunately, we are in marked vehicles wearing reflective vests, and, you know, we can definitely put magnetic signage that indicates what we are doing out there specifically, but, you know, going, especially with how the program currently is, where you are going around and just choosing random fields, you don't necessarily have contact information for every resident in the MD to even give that heads up. So,
I know if you want to do that, so, I mean, that's easy to get. If you have a policy, you put it in the code, so you don't really go that route. I mean,
Okay, so with going back to, we got sidetracked a bit there, going back to the canola rotation risk mapping, what do we want to do?
Option one.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, option one.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Option one, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have one more RFD for the Ag Service Department, the grass seed. So that was presented to everybody this morning.
So this was, so I do have the policy statement in there. So I was required to order some reclamation grass seed for this year's construction projects, and I did get a price in from Parrish and Heimbecker for the amount of $12,316.80. And unthinkingly, I did go ahead and put that in outside of that policy. So I do really apologize for that. Was definitely an oversight on my end, and no ill intent there whatsoever. I did have a look back in our files. We did not submit an RFD in 2023 or 2024. One did go through in 2022, so that was very much just a miss on my end.
Okay. Thanks, Robin. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, thanks, ladies.
Thank you. I'll grab Preston.
Hold on to the base.
Bill. I did, I just did. Thanks, Steve. You got her done?
Morning, Preston.
Morning.
Oh, Preston.
How's everybody today?
Really good.
Good news.
Okay, Director of Public Works report is there for everybody's viewing. Any questions or comments for Preston?
So we did have a compliance inspection in Fabian, Green Shields as well. I did actually receive an email late last week that we did pass our Fabian inspection. I don't have word on Green Shields, but I assume it'll be exactly the same as Fabian. It just takes time for that communication to get across. Compliance inspections happen approximately once every 2 years. I think it's been about 3. 2021 was the last time I had a compliance inspection. So, Alberta Environment and Protection. They come out with their compliance officers and they go through all your records, and yeah, they're pretty diligent about it. They have a matrix they follow, and it's, you know, it's good. It's actually really good feedback. It shows you any weak points for you to stay on top of things and keep moving forward. So yeah, it's good. It's a fairly it's a good learning experience actually. So yeah, and validates what you're doing. So contractor does have the new VFDs, and we're just in a position where we have to get them installed into the reservoirs. So I'll take care of that. We also received a delivery of a 150 cat grader yesterday. That'll be for Division 1, so we're just getting GPS radio put into that unit, and then we'll get it out there. We also received one of our new 627 scrapers. So we just have it in the shop, just checking it over, we'll get it deckled up and get it back in the lineup. Our next 627 is in Calgary currently, but apparently there's a service letter that came out on this particular unit. Must have something to do with the serial number. Doesn't affect the one we have just received, but there's something to do with a test they have to do on the brakes before they can release it. So we're 3 weeks before that'll be delivered, from what I understand from the last message I got. So, but it is in Canada, in Calgary.
Okay.
Just recently, after yesterday, there's been a couple spots that have shown up with some water built up around some culverts. We're currently working on one just northwest of Wainwright here, real close, and then we got another one just northeast of Wainwright here that we're also working at the same time. So we'll be watching all that as it unfolds here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They weren't at mine yet.
They're coming. Seems like when you get one, you get two. Yeah. It's that time of year. We'll see how things go.
A lot more water than, 2 days ago, there was nothing there.
Yeah, the water seemed to really kind of pick up the pace here in the last 2 days, so it'll slow down a bit and then pick up again.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we can move on to some RFDs.
I'll move the report.
Motion to move his report. Bob? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And our first RFD is the 2025 1500 series truck. So it looks like you got 4 scores that were submitted.
That's correct.
Okay,
So,
I'll make a motion, we'll go with Webb's.
for 2, correct?
correct.
Okay, and you want them both with Webb's and Oscar?
Yeah.
Okay, Oscar has a motion to go with Webb's. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
So what trucks are you replacing? What are you replacing?
I'm replacing the Director of Public Works truck and the Agriculture Field Person's truck.
Oh, 2 half-tons.
2 half-tons, correct, yeah.
Okay, another RFD for fog seal code application.
So this is part of our routine maintenance for fog seal as we do our cycling.
Who did we use last year, Preston?
Last year we used Ant Construction. Yeah. Year before that, we did Read on Roads. It's been a while since we've used Westcan. But Westcan is also working in the Provost area, so I assume that it works well for pricing on their side. So maybe that's where you see a little bit of the difference there.
Okay, what do you guys want to do? Bruce?
I say we go with Westcan.
Okay, Bruce has a motion to go with Westcan. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And fencing.
Okay, so we advertised for fencing as a contract list. So we did get 5 contractors on our list. So what we're looking at here is hopefully with this, when we have one contractor that is not available, we can move down the list to the next contractor and keep our fencing current and as quick as possible to meet the landowner needs.
Okay, Bob's got a question or comment?
Yeah, I would, I'm not comfortable with this motion. I think I'm okay with the top 2, but I'm not okay with the bottom 3. I mean, you go 3,700, 4,800, and 7,900. I mean, we've done all the fencing with one contractor for years, and last year we had to hire somebody to help out to finish, so I don't agree with paying $8,000 to put a mile of fencing. I think if we just went with the top 2 ones, I'd be more comfortable with that.
The bottom two on this list are not local contractors. The top
Right.
three are local.
They're on the list.
Yeah, we
That's
can
fine.
remove them
That's-
as well
that's
as
fine.
council decision.
Yeah, you guys can do what you want, but I just think that if they're on the list, they could be used, and $8,000 a mile is too high for fencing, is my opinion. But
There's another thing though too with this, you never, or I don't see a score on it, and the thing that I find is the lowest person on this list, anybody can put those figures in and charge, it's a different fee. It's a hard thing to actually put a price on. Is it? I mean, we can go pick him, but are those the actual dollars that we're gonna pay? You can't say they are. Like this first guy that's on the list, has he got a price, have you figured out that price per mile? And into last year's fencing, does it actually work out to what his quote is? That's what I'd like to know.
Well, I'd have to say yes, because that's what he provides with a price. So, so when he does a mile?
Well, I'd have to say no, if it was me.
Okay. I don't know if I understand the line of questioning. there.
No, you
So you're
probably
saying
don't. I
he's,
can't word
for
it
a
in-
mile of fence, he's charging more than what he's saying? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes,
Well,
that's the bottom line. I
Only-
mean, I'm asking
when
you, I
we-
guess, if these figures that he's quoted
depending on
you-
the lay of the land, if the lay of the land is not conducive to normal fencing, then we go to an hourly rate. Yes. And then we can have we can be higher than that. Otherwise, on a mile that is conducive to fencing, we charge by the mile, by the brace, by the gate, and the Deputy Director of Public Works validates the invoices when they come in.
So when we had to bring in a second party last year to finish some stuff up, was it bid or was it by the hour?
He gave us a price per mile.
Okay.
Is he number 2 on the list that did it?
No, number 3.
3.
We can most certainly scrap this and go back to a tender and hire one fencer and do the season again if that's what council's looking for. Or we can sit on this and move forward. But based on the conversations we had last year with the issues of getting the fencer out, this seemed to be the most viable solution to that. So this is why we went this direction. It really came across as timing with the landowners and making sure these fencing jobs got done. And was the only solution that we had to allow that to happen. We could have 2 crews going at the same time if we choose. But
So what you're saying, if he doesn't want to work, then you could bring in number 2 and get that
yeah,
job done.
Yeah.
And it just,
exactly.
because that's where we're sitting in my area right now. I mean,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen there? I'd like to know what's happening there. I mean, did we pay him for them miles that aren't completed? Do we
No.
pay him upon completion? How we
No,
pay
he
him?
gets paid on completion. We don't pay him prior.
So then okay, he's got the post in, he's got no wire on, where's that? How's he getting charged for that? How did we pay for that? Do we know? I don't know.
I'm assuming we haven't paid him anything yet until he gets the wire on it.
So he put the posts on and pounded it and went through and hired people and we never give him any money.
Potentially. I didn't realize there was posts on the ground with no wire on it. to
Oh
tell you
yeah,
the
there's
truth.
posts in the ground,
So,
no wire, yeah.
I
So
agree, I agree with taking those
I
bottom
don't-
2 off. I'd hate to see you call somebody in for that kind of money, just because they're the only guy
yeah, I
available.
mean, council direction is to not use those contractors. I mean, that's fine. We
Yeah,
can do that
take
going
those
forward.
2 off. But again, in different places on tie-ins, you've got like $18 versus $150. It's like buying apples and oranges, and yet their hourly rate's close. Gives them the opportunity to charge different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna recommend is the same thing, Robin, just looking at the top 3 are
Yeah.
pretty much in the ballpark and the other 2 are kinda in
Out,
left field,
yeah.
so. If everybody's comfortable with that, I'd
Yeah,
recommend a motion of the top 3 contractors being approved and,
the bottom 2 go off.
yeah.
Does that work okay for your
Yeah.
job?
Yeah, everybody's good with that? Okay, who would like to make that motion?
I'll do that.
Thanks, Robin. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and an RFD for contracted equipment list.
Okay, so, previous years we've done this same contractors list, and here's our unofficial results.
Have we used most of these in the past?
I've never used, road-to-rail construction. I don't know if we've used them in the past or not.
Where are they from? Stadler area?
Camrose.
Okay.
And again, comparing apples to apples, all their WCB, their insurance, everything is the same.
Yeah, they have to, everything has to be submitted before they get approved to the list.
Okay.
And-
Being out of the MD, their loan would be considerably more, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
I'll make the motion to approve the list.
Thanks, Oscar. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and the south driving lane on Berg Road.
Okay, with the Cadogan Road project going on, I think we should look at this the Berg Road on the south driving lane at about 3.1 kilometer north of Highway 14. We do have some deflection just in the south driving lane there. I did look at it last year and I wanted to maybe address when we did the culvert dips, but we did have quite a healthy number of culvert dips going on, and it's a little bit of a different scope than a culvert dip fix as well. So I thought if council would be interested, we could add this into our Cadogan Road job and get a repair on this. It is approximately 100 meters to repair the south driving range. Then we can monitor this and see if it changes over time. And if it doesn't change, then we're happy. And if it does change, then we do have a sub-base issue that maybe we want to address later on.
Okay,
Based on talking with Rohai, approximate estimate was $35,000. So we would honestly not know exactly until we get the contract and open it, if council would like to move in that direction.
okay, what's your guys' thoughts?
I'll make a motion, we go with option one.
Thanks, Bruce. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. We have, Township 414, so Oakwood Road. I had asked to have this put back on the agenda. In my conversations with Preston, we're kind of at a standstill with it. The motion we have right now is that to buy the 100-foot right-of-way before we approve, we'll go ahead with engineering. But unless things have changed, my understanding is we can't get the 100-foot right-of-way without the engineering. So if you want to speak on that a little bit.
Well, it's not that we can't get it. It's just if we approach the province with the 100-foot buy, and the engineering does the design, and it goes beyond that, then we're back in the same boat. I think the reality is, I think we need to see some of this engineered drawing so that when when the province asks more questions, we can present that to them, and then we have a design that's laid out. If we buy the 100-foot and the back slope goes farther beyond that, then we potentially have ourselves in another issue. We have to wait for approval again. If we have it in hand and we give it to them, then we're actually ahead of the game, is the way I look at it. We do have everything else signed up. This is the only one we're waiting on. So.
And there's quite a potential that it's going to be beyond 100 foot.
I mean, we all looked at it, so yeah, I believe when you get the back slope involved, then it's going to be farther than that.
I'll make a motion to vote for engineering and a design.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, thanks, Preston. Okay, administration, or no, recreation.
So we got kids sport.
Kids sport, yeah, 2025 kids sport, an RFD, so,
So this is our 8th annual Kids Sport.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So I mean, the MD of Wainwright has been a proud supporter of this function, so obviously, council can make a decision if they'd like to repeat that and keep moving forward.
I'll move option one.
Oh, who was first? I thought Richard was first there.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me get my name on it.
Okay, Richard makes a motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Thanks, Preston.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have our accounts. Need a motion for the financial statement.
I'll make a motion for the accounts, Mike.
Do you want to go through them quick, or is everybody good with the accounts?
We're good.
Yeah.
Good? Okay, Richard has the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And our financial statement is there. Any questions or comments on the financial? No? Somebody want to make a motion to accept it?
So moved.
Oscar? Oh,
No, go ahead.
all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Sorry, Bob.
No problem.
Reserves are there for information.
I don't want to get fighting with you like Richard does.
How do you see that?
Everybody likes kid sport. Okay, so we have an RFD for 2024 reserve allocation.
Was that higher than normal?
Last year was 7 million,
Okay.
And what's this year?
4.5.
4.5.
So, just looking at it, should we split that equally between bridges and road surfacing?
What's that, Bob?
Split it equal between bridges and road surfacing? That seems to be maybe your two biggest expenditures for the years coming.
Yeah, I'd almost go 1.5 and 3 into road surfacing.
Yeah, whatever.
Review.
Good either way.
And that's what I was gonna recommend, but I'm fine with
No,
either or.
no, it's just so I know we got Oscar's bridges coming up. We're gonna probably have to do something with it, but, and we're looking at probably close to $1 million for those two, right? Like, give or
Yeah.
take. In that number?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I said that you got your two bridges coming up, and if we don't get any grants, I mean, we're gonna have to do them, so you're looking at $1 million, probably $1 million between the
Million
two.
two, I think, there.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got, what is it,
2.5.
2.5 in bridges, so, but no, as long as we don't deplete our bridge funding, because I don't know, I mean, we'll have to wait for the budget to see if we got a grant, because there was more money put into STIP, so once
Yeah.
they announce it, then we'll
We
know.
did say we'd sit till June because it's a fall project anyway.
I
so,
know,
yeah.
but if we don't get the funding, we're probably gonna have to get moving on it, because
Yeah.
it's gonna take
Well,
a couple of months for your engineering and design and everything, if you
I
want it for
think
fall.
we have engineering on it, don't we, on the bridges?
No. On
Yeah.
both of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
and the engineering came out to 1.2,
okay.
Yeah.
so,
So
But if that's what your motion is,
No,
I'm
no, no,
fine
I'm,
with
I'm,
that.
go- I'm good. That's just that usually because I know that we've got a fair chunk in surfacing, but we are gonna, by the looks of it, do maybe switching how we're doing surfacing, so you're gonna need more money. You're gonna need more funds in that over the next few years as well, so.
yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think there's still, even with the road surfacing, there's about 4 million left in the budget area. So,
Well, your road surfacing, you got 17 million in the account, so,
In reserves, yep.
in reserve, and your bridges are 2.2, so.
What
So,
do you-
yeah, if you put $1 million back into bridges, that'll cover off, that'll keep us in that 2 million in reserves and the balance into road surfacing would be, that sounds good too.
Okay, just need a motion.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion.
What's that, you said $1 million in bridge?
Yep,
Yep, and the balance into road surfacing,
So balance would be, what, 3.5?
3.5, yeah.
3.5, I'll move that.
Okay, Bob made the motion. All those in favor?
What's the motion for?
1 million going into bridge reserve and 3.5 into road surfacing.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and our action list is there. Everybody's information. And we have the RFD for Hedgerton Sea Cleaning Plant.
This was a request from the Edgerton Sea Cleaning Plant. for council to review their funding that comes across every 2 years, and that was changed to unconditional from capital the last number of years. And the request from the seed cleaning plant is to increase the funding from the MD to $15,000 per year.
Is that enough?
Well, there's kind of two ways we can handle this. I think we can make the motion today and then in planning tomorrow deal with it as well in budget. Because I think if we're, and this is just me saying this, if we're looking at Edgerton, we might want to look at the other seed cleaning plant as well.
Well, you pretty near have to, yeah.
So I don't know if we want to table this until we go through planning and budget, or if we want to pass this now and we'll use this as a template going forward.
Yeah, I was going to bring Wainwright's to planning and budget, but I saw that was on there, so it's whatever, but I was hoping to see it go annually for both plants, but I think I know, but based on our finances, I would like to see it higher than 15,000, but that's whatever, that's the motion you guys can deal with, or however you want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think 15,000 every year would be enough for now, and hopefully it gets better, but.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, because, so are you going to add that to the motion then, that we include Wainwright in that as well?
I
Or
think
do
you
we-
should table it if you're gonna do that. Does Wainwright not have land for sale?
Potentially.
It's
Yeah.
for sale, but hasn't sold. But I mean, I can tell you, our shortfall last year was over $100,000. I mean, we did a lot of expansion upgrades too, but we're probably running a deficit of 25, 30,000 every year. We're pulling out of reserves.
Okay, so what I'll ask for is a motion to deal with this letter today for the Edgerton seed cleaning plant for the 15,000 to assist yearly, and then we will put it on the agenda for planning tomorrow to review this and also to add Wainwright.
Well, I don't think they need the money today. Why don't you put it all on?
I'd put it all to planning and go through, like, any other group would have to bring a financial statement for an ask, or do we just normally, this is just normal part of our budget?
The seed plants have been given a yearly, they got 10,000 every 2 years.
Yeah, this has been ongoing. They're just,
Then we give them top up for capital, like if Edgerton or Wainwright, if Wainwright or Edgerton ever want to do an upgrade, they've always just sent a letter and asked for a straight capital infusion. But, I mean, we're losing bushels because people are bringing in cleaners. So I guess the question is, and I mean, we can do that at planning too, so it's whatever you guys want to do. No use getting too deep into it today, but.
well,
I'll make a motion, we go with option 1 on this motion.
Okay.
okay. Richard made the motion to go with option 1. All those in favor? Opposed?
Well, count the hounds.
Yeah. I'll ask for a count again. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we'll put that on the agenda for tomorrow to review and then
Well,
go
just
forward.
as a side, if you want, I can get Wainwright to send you a letter if that's what you want, and we can go to budget, or it won't be there tomorrow, but we can send a letter for planning or for budget if you want, or for the next. I can have a letter for the next council meeting, and then it'll go to a budget file. But it's whatever you want.
No, I think let's get the letter, but I think let's put it on planning tomorrow
Okay.
anyways, going forward.
Sure.
So,
Yep, that's fine.
okay. The Wainwright Stampede Association, scissor lift request again.
Yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory. It's for their stampede, and they're looking for assistance from the MD. This has been something they've used the last couple of stampedes, so they're asking again. They use it for, this is, it's got the big rugged tires on it, so they can easily maneuver it within the grounds, right? The gravel, the mud, and so on, and they lift their sound equipment with it.
Okay,
I'll make the motion that we let them have the scissor list.
okay, Bill makes a motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Centennial Clock Celebration, we have a letter from
I think I back up one.
You got, yeah,
You went too
you
far.
got two from the.
Oh, okay, we got the sponsorship, sorry. I missed that one.
Yeah, this is a sponsorship from the Stampede Association. They're looking for any kind of response from the, or support from the MD. Last year, previous response or support was $5,000.
I'll make a motion, we give them 5,000.
Okay, thanks, Oscar. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now we're at the clock celebration. Funding request.
I'll move we give them 10,000.
Okay, Bob made the motion to support for $10,000. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have Irma 4-H Club request. So they're requesting $500 for their beef show and sale.
Yeah, I'll move that.
Bob makes a motion to go with number 1.
Yep.
All those in favor? Opposed?
What's the sponsorship request? What was that?
$500.
Five.
5?
5 as well, I believe, yeah.
500 it was?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Okay, and opposed? Carried. Election worker fees for 2025.
Okay, so this was 4 years ago, so we're looking for council to consider reviewing these. And a little different idea for this year is to use the ratepayer rate, which is set on an annual basis at the organizational meeting. So it's with the cost of living over the last 4 years, and to be competitive with some of our neighbors to attract some workers, I think we should be competitive. And it's an idea is to use our ratepayer rate, which is $375.04 per day, which would include, and you got to realize these workers, once they're on election day, they've got a long day. They're looking at a 13, 14-hour day, so they put in the time, definitely.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I'll go with option 1, set the adjusted rate.
Okay, thanks, Bill. All those in favor?
I like it.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, bulletins are there. And next up would be development.
Jeez, you're gonna have done the record time, buddy.
Moving, well, we got an 11 o'clock delegation, so stop for coffee after this.
Or we can finish and stop for a coffee and put our feet up. Whatever you call it. What time is it? It's almost 10.
Almost 10, 10 to 10, yeah.
What is going on? Like this is like speed board.
I don't know. Not feeling well, just trying to get through it.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Dana.
Look at
Okay, everybody should have Dana's report. If there's any questions or comments.
I'll pass out.
Okay, Oscar makes a motion to accept the report as presented. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. What do we have for RFD for letter of concurrence, Altalink telecommunications tower.
So actually, both of these RFDs are very much for the same thing. The Government of Canada Innovation, Science and Economic Development requires, in addition to applications for telecommunication towers, a letter of concurrence from the municipality. So we actually don't require a development permit. It's not under our jurisdiction, but in support of their application, they always ask for a letter of concurrence from the municipality. And the first one is in support of 2 telecommunication towers, one at the Spalding switching station and the second at the Edgerton substation.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, if this doesn't go through, is this not, are these towers still going up?
Very likely.
Okay.
It's not our jurisdiction.
No, but I mean, if ABO is not successful, will he still be putting the towers up?
No, that I don't, it's in support of that
project, okay.
project. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay, so we need a motion to authorize the Director of Development Services to send a letter of concurrence.
I can do that.
Thanks, Bruce. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And then for the second one, it's the same thing. They're requesting that letter of concurrence. This time it's for a telecommunication pole at the Wainwright substation.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion that Dana can send the letter?
Yeah.
Oscar? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Dana.
Painless, huh?
Okay, need a motion to approval of pay sheets?
So moved.
Bob, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We'll go through reports quickly and then we'll stop for coffee before our 11 o'clock delegation. So Wainwright Seed Cleaning Plant,
Yeah, we had our meeting last month. We got 60,000 bushels cleaned to date. We didn't clean anything in February. Couldn't get anybody to come during the cold weather, and we got about 60,000 ahead of us. That's about it. I think the plant's running pretty good.
okay. The Edgerton,
You were at the meeting.
yeah, I was. So in that, it did come up about the letter, and one of the issues that they are facing is just costs. Electricity, they had a couple upgrades to put in, and they were looking at around $4,000 just for a small upgrade. So that's really paying some havoc on their finances. So that was discussed a lot. The seed cleaning rates were set, and I believe it was the same as last month. So and that was about it. FCS.
We had our meeting March 20th. We did our financial audit. We had a presentation from Focus on homelessness in Wainwright, offered by Christina Harvey. It had some interesting results. Building maintenance is an issue with accessibility. Our bathrooms aren't accessible. They've only got 4 years left in their lease, so just discussing how to move forward with that. And that's about it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, I babbled on.
That's okay.
You got nothing?
You said everything I had.
Sorry.
Not unusual?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, Battle River Foundation.
That's me too. We had our meeting last night. The budget was brought forward. Lodge assistance showed a small increase, but we don't know how that'll be brought forward. We had a housing advisor review. I meet with him over the phone here in the next few days, but he met with our administration. And we're off to the ASHA conference March 31st to April 2nd. The board's going. That's it.
Excellent.
Where's your conference this year?
Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
Do they do it at the Shaw or at the Expo?
Shaw.
Just curious. Is that Shaw? Okay. Landfill. Let's talk landfill.
Okay, had a meeting yesterday. We have to sign an agreement with Circular Materials to handle recycling, and it's been put off to July 30 or July 1st because of some legal issues they're looking at. Hazardous waste roundup is May 3rd. We're looking for a crusher to crush concrete. We can't find one right now, but we are looking for somebody. Took in 11,000 tons of soil from the new school site that is deemed it's got too much salt in it, so they had to remove it for school. Clean Harbors is doing the roundup. Anything else, Richard?
They got boxes for battery recycling, the little batteries and some bigger ones now. And in February 26th, we went to the conference, Vegreville Recycling. We went up there where the town of Vegreville does all their own recycling, where they package everything up and put it in bales, I guess. And then we also went to Lacombe to the plastic recycling. And this is what they make out of old oil pails and jugs.
There's your-
boards for decking,
Your batteries.
so, yeah.
Okay, and one other thing we found at the conference, and we've talked, if you guys ever have to clean a lagoon again, you can't use the biosolids on farmland. It's got to sit, the only crop you can grow after biosolids is soybeans. Because every other plant takes up the pathogens for 2 years. So just be cautious going forward. You can put it on grass.
Yeah.
You can spread it on grass. But the safest way is to put it in those bags, those eco bags, whatever you call them, and then let the water run out back into the lagoon. And then after 2 or 3 years, then you can land spread it. But the pathogens are too high, and every other crop will suck up the pathogens, and it could deem the crop not saleable. So, other than that, that's about it.
Did you guys see the town has tabletop composters? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know.
No, no.
It's never been brought to the meeting.
Yeah, I just wondered.
We saw those in Regina. They had a display where you actually put stuff into this thing and it tumbles around.
Yeah.
And then within a couple days or a few days, I think you have compost. There's
Yeah.
some sort of a heating process that goes on, but I think that's kind of what they're doing in the town of Wainwright. They're subsidizing, I think, I don't want to speak for the town, but a certain amount
Yeah.
for a certain amount of machines that they're going to promote and see how it's kind of like a pilot project. is
With
what
all
I
our
understand.
uptake in these courses, I thought that'd be really interesting as to why we couldn't do it together, or if the MD would be, try one or whatever.
Yeah. When I'd heard about it, the program was well underway.
Yeah, I seen that when we went to a meeting, they were sitting on the desk when you sign in, you know? Just wondered if the landfill knew about it. Cool.
Okay. Community Health Foundation?
I didn't think it was my turn. We are getting set for our Midsummer's Night's Dream Gala, April 12th. We're raising funds for a sim lab at an approximate cost of $400,000 for the simulation lab, and it'll be used for training the nurses coming in, getting educated through the U of C in Wainwright. And right now, we're sitting 80% sold out with our tickets, so we've sold out the last 2 years in a row. I don't know if we'll sell out this year or not, but it's close, I guess. And that's about all I have, Michael.
Excellent. Northern Lights.
Well, we met in February, had our AGM, our AGM is in person May 2nd, but yeah, not much to report there.
Okay. Wainwright Economic Development.
Meetings next week.
Okay.
Did you forget 911?
That's right. I
Did
knew
I
it
miss
wasn't
East
ready
Central
yet.
911?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce is so quiet today.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's talk East Central 911 then, Bruce.
We haven't had a formal meeting, I just met with George at the conference, and that's about it, so,
Okay.
Thanks, Bruce.
thank you. I thought I'd just sit here and wait.
Okay, need a motion to file the reports?
Billy.
Bill?
That Billy.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we will break for coffee. Go into recess. We'll call the meeting back to order. We got Rohi with us, but there is one little bit of business we got to deal with. Just the Egg Fieldman's report. I just need a motion for the egg to accept the Egg Fieldman's report. Bruce, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. And we got Glenn on. Glenn, how are you?
I am well. I am well.
Good. I
You
hope
guys can hear me good?
We can, yes. And I hope you'll just take all of that last 5 minutes of mumble jumble you heard and just throw that out. And
Well, I heard one good joke. I laughed. It was good.
Okay, so we are going to discuss the bridge, North Chauvin Road.
Right. Okay. So I asked if, or I maybe suggested that it wouldn't be a terrible idea for me to jump into your guys' meeting just for a quick minute. Just thought it wouldn't hurt to do a little bit of explaining with some of the stuff. So we had been out and evaluated the bridge file and had come back with some suggestions. And some of them aren't so our recommendation, because we're an engineering firm and we have to stamp and have liability for what we do, so officially our recommendation for this is a replacement of the bridge well, but with conversations with Preston in particular, we know that is not feasible at this time due to budget constraints and whatnot. So Preston said, hey, let's look at some repair methods and go that direction. So the original assessment was done a few years ago. It had a recommendation for an assessment. When we looked at it, we had some concerns with the assessment that was, or the procedure that was done. Nothing wrong with the assessment. But a couple things was that we didn't feel like that we were able to come within the funding that was available with that type of repair. And also too, we had some concerns about the stability of the culvert if we did do that method. So
there's also the consideration that the multi-plate is it's lapped in reverse. So the repair that was recommended in the original assessment was to dig the ends up and replace the multi-plate. The problem that's presented is the multi-plate is actually not put together correctly. So then, I mean, we're just repeating the same mistake. So just a little bit of background on that, okay?
Yeah. And actually, I just sent a request to be able to share. I'm not sure how that, if I can now, or I was just going to bring up some pictures too. So, do I, okay, I am awesome. Share. Okay, so this is the site, and like Preston was indicating, so we have quite a bit of deformation of the pipe, and so the biggest problem is there's two problems. It was installed and built incorrectly originally, and then the amount of cover over the pipe is insufficient for the amount of pressure there is on the sides. So what's happening is you have too much pressure on the sides, and it makes it football shaped to the top there, right? So you can see along here. I'm gonna see. Do I need to make this bigger? You can see the cracking all along the bolts. The bolts, it's lapped and bolted incorrectly. These bolts are basically opposite of what they should be. Okay, so what we have done is we've come up with a temporary repair by welding or reinforcing bars along those cracks, And so the procedure itself is done a lot in the United States. It's not done that much in Canada. However, it is it is a Alberta Transportation procedure. We do have a procedure from Alberta Transportation, and the way it's done is they just take these bars you can see there, and we simply weld them along the cracks, basically. I mean, so there's, there's procedures for the galvanization and all that kind of stuff, but it's very simple. We do have kind of a cost estimate put together for this method. I do think that we're a little high, but I think if we can get a good local welder and contractor, this procedure should be fairly cost effective. But the problem with it is that I mean, as any repair, it's a Band-Aid. And you're still, we're looking at 10 to 15 years kind of thing, right? So, I think that's what Preston was kind of looking for to get him to the next cycle with, maybe a repair in that time frame. I mean, sorry, a replacement in that time frame, but, so I wanted to come and just talk about if you had any questions, but also why we were deviating from the assessment.
So there's a little more history to that as well. So we did get a bridge assessment on this file, and one of the recommendations from the previous engineer was to do the repair. And then we went to STIP and applied for funding, and we did get funding for the repair procedure. And that's what brings us to this point. So we do have funding from STIP for a repair. And just wanted to give that background just so everybody's on the same page as we're looking at this, okay?
So what's the extra cost for the repair?
I think we're in at, what's the number you got there, 308?
Yeah, 308.
And I think we got, I mean, this isn't 100% accurate, but we're in about the 230, I think, for
That's
our
correct,
funding.
yeah.
Does that sound about right, Kelly?
I
mean, in that ballpark
in the
area.
ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes up to 300. That's not bad.
Also with this repair, we will have, we'll repair the cement collar on the upstream side, and we'll add a cement collar on the downstream side as well.
Is that included in the same price?
Yes, in that
Correct.
308, correct, Lynn?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
And that'll give us 10 more years.
Yeah, you said
I
it's
mean,
a Band-Aid.
that's a recommendation, 10 years.
10 years?
Mm-hmm.
10 to 15. I mean, it could last, it could last a lot longer than that too, assuming that there's no issues with the culvert ends. With this repair as well, is we don't lose our road top. We might have to have a traffic diversion, but we won't lose our road top. So what they'll do is they'll dig the upstream and downstream sides out, probably at different times, obviously. Do the welding, do the repair, put everything back together with the cement collar, and then do the other side.
So would it would it benefit, or is it feasible to put more cover on top of the ridge if there's not enough on that's causing some of the issue?
Go ahead, Preston.
I was going to say the issue we have right now is on our culvert ends. It's not actually the biggest issue right now is not inside on the bridge part, but it is on the open ends. What would you say on that, Glenn? Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. That's exactly right. I guess right now with the repair method, we're saying, okay, the damage to some degree is done, and this repair method is to stop it proceeding farther, right? And so, and that is part of the reason why we have the concrete collar going on too. So we're going to weld concrete collar, and then so that should hold the shape of the concrete collar, of the pipe as is. As far as adding extra cover on the pipe, it is possible, and even with the concrete collar, we could add a little bit. I don't think we're going to have enough room to add enough cover to help out a lot.
Okay.
This is also a cement stabilized road as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think it's okay to go ahead with that.
What's the
Okay.
material, Glenn, you're welding on there?
Sorry, say that again.
What's the material you're welding onto the culvert?
Yeah, so they're called they have a certain, but they're just metal bars.
We
I
don't
mean,
have to.
to put it in simple
But here
terms,
can
they are
Repair, right?
yeah, what they're called number 5 reinforcing bars is what they're technically called, but they're just a bar, and then they'll be coated with a zinc paint, and we'll try to do there's a few processes that we need to go through to try to make this a long-term solution. But I guess that's the other thing I kind of stepped over is that we have galvanized pipe. We're gonna have to take the galvanization off. We're gonna be welding on the pipe.
right.
We're gonna,
Yeah.
so we're gonna introduce some problems too. One is corrosion, right? And so we'll try to do a really good job and make sure the contractor does a really good job of trying to it's actually zinc, the repair, but it's never as good as it's never as good as the original, right?
Well, that's what I was wondering, because it's toxic to weld on that, so what you're saying is you're gonna remove the galvanization, weld it, and then try to put the zinc back on. Is that
100%.
that process? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So, actually, if I can find, we do have it outlined a few different things why, or what are the downfalls of this procedure. But overall, I think this is the best cost-effective way of dealing with this. So, yeah, they have corrosion risk, limited serviceability. Don't have a lot of contractors that are going to be familiar with this method because it's not done a lot in Alberta or in Canada even. But at the same time, it's honestly, guys, it's a little bit let's say farmer, right? So I think anybody with some good common sense and a welder that's used to fab and stuff, he's going to go, yeah, I can do that, right? So we just need a contractor to expose the pipe and to be able to do the concrete ends, obviously, but the welding part, I think it won't be an issue, right? So
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, I just sorry, I just wanted to kind of come in and in case you guys had questions, right?
Okay, so Glenn, it's Kelly here. Just
Yep.
wondering about lining things up, because we do have 2 other bridge projects that we've got in the queue with Alberta Transportation under STIP funding. So this one has funding. So we might be, once we decide which way we're going to go, ready to pull the trigger on doing a tender for this and advertising it. Would there be any advantage, economies of scale, better prices to have all 3 go at the same time? Or are these different type of fixes, different type of contractors? I just would like to know your comments on that for council.
Yeah, for sure. The 2285 is significantly different procedures. I think that it should be a standalone. The other 2 are very similar. They should go together. But this one, I think, is a standalone.
Okay. That answers that question. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Glenn? No? No, not seeing anything, Glenn. Appreciate you coming on today and giving us an update.
You bet. Okay, I will jump
Oscar,
off.
did you have any questions, Oscar?
Do you have any questions for Glenn before we let him go?
Yeah, on galvanized, over the years, I've always been skeptical about welding it because you lose your density out of that galvanized pipe, right? Is that gonna be an effective problem, or can we recover it? We also bear it to rust and rot that much quicker also because of the heat that you put on that weld, right?
Sorry, Oscar. I did have a bit of a hard time understanding. I think you're just asking about the integrity of the repair about welding on that type of pipe? Is that, am I getting?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty much the gist of it, just the integrity after the weld, and essentially was what Oscar was asking about.
Yeah, so we do have, Oscar, I don't think it's ever going to be as good as original, right? The procedure does outline how to take care of it to do the best job that they possibly can and to be an adequate repair. So, I guess the things sitting there holding together with the cracks as is, and to be honest, I mean the thing would probably sit there for another X many years if we didn't do anything, right? But this should be. Oh my goodness. Thought I shut that thing off before. So yeah, so I mean it am I gonna say it's as good as new? No. Is this a procedure that is um approved by Alberta Transportation for this type of repair? Yes, yeah. So, I don't know if I answered that very good, but
Yep, that works. Okay, anything else before we let him go? No, thanks again, Glenn, for coming and answering any questions.
Can we get your credit card number?
you bet. Sounds good, guys. It's always a good laugh. Yeah, thanks. Have a great day, everybody.
You as well, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Glenn.
Okay, we should, if this is going to be a standalone, we should have a motion to go ahead and put this out to tender with this repair design. Oscar, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. I believe we have one more motion.
So moved.
Bob adjourns.